The moment you step into the Driskill Hotel, it feels like the building inhales you first, and only then allows you to breathe. Opened in 1886 in the heart of Austin, Texas, the hotel stands like a witness that never learned how to forget. Its grand columns glow under warm lights, but beneath that beauty lies something restless, something old. People say history sleeps here, but if you listen closely, you realize it never truly does. The marble floors echo even when no one is walking. Late at night, footsteps drift across the lobby, slow and deliberate, as if someone is pacing with unfinished thoughts. Guests often turn, expecting to see a man in a wide, brimmed hat or a woman in antique dress, only to find empty space staring back. Some believe these are the ghosts of past owners, bound by pride and regret. Others whisper of Jinn, ancient spirits drawn to places heavy with ambition, loss, and human emotion. The Driskill has all three. There is a strange continuity to the hotel, as if time here folds in on itself. The laughter of modern guests blends with echoes of 19th century voices. Elevators pause on floors no one selected. Lights flicker, not violently, but thoughtfully, like signals. A child's presence is often felt near the staircase, playful yet unsettling. A reminder that innocence does not always escape tragedy. People describe the air growing colder, not with the bite of winter, but with the weight of unseen attention. Some nights, the hotel feels aware. Mirrors reflect more than they should. Shadows linger too long before slipping away. Employees talk quietly about doors opening on their own, about whispers that speak in languages no one recognizes. Could these be Jinn moving between realms, feeding on the emotional residue left behind by decades of dreams and despair? Or are they simply ghosts, repeating their final moments in an endless loop? The Driskill doesn't chase you. It doesn't scream. It waits. It watches. Guests often report the feeling of being observed, not with malice, but with curiosity. As if the hotel itself is alive, collecting stories, collecting souls, and adding each new visitor to its memory. Long after midnight, when the city outside sleeps, the hotel feels most awake, breathing softly, holding its secrets close, daring anyone to stay long enough to truly listen. From the very first brick laid in 1886, the Driskill Hotel absorbed more than mortar, marble, and ambition. It absorbed intention. Colonel Jesse Driskill didn't just build a hotel. He poured his pride, his fortune, and his belief in legacy into its walls. And places built with such forceful human will rarely remain empty after the people are gone. Long after the last hammer fell silent, something stayed behind, quietly settling into the corridors, the staircases, the ceilings that rise like cathedral arches. Guests often describe the atmosphere not as frightening at first, but heavy, as if the air itself remembers too much. There is a suspense that begins the moment one crosses the threshold, a tension that doesn't announce itself loudly, but grows slowly, like a held breath. The hotel feels layered, as though every generation that passed through left a thin veil behind. Conversations from another century seem to hover just beyond hearing. Laughter fades too quickly. Silence never feels complete. This continuity, this seamless blending of then and now, creates the unsettling sense that time inside the Driskill does not move forward in a straight line. Instead, it circles, repeating emotional echoes again and again. People sensitive to spiritual energy often speak of presence rather than apparitions. They say the hotel feels occupied, even when empty, watched even when alone. Some believe these presences are ghosts, souls tied to moments of loss, pride, or unfinished business. Others go deeper, whispering of Jinn, ancient spirits known to attach themselves to places saturated with human emotion. Jinn are not bound by the same rules as ghosts. They do not belong to one era or one tragedy. They linger where ambition burns brightest, and where human desire leaves deep scars. The Driskill, with its rise, fall, and survival through centuries, becomes a perfect dwelling. As night stretches on, the atmosphere thickens. The continuity becomes more noticeable. A guest may feel sudden sadness, without reason, or a rush of confidence that doesn't feel like their own. These emotional shifts are often reported by those who stay longer, as if the building slowly introduces itself. Some hear their name whispered when no one is nearby. Others sense a presence standing just behind them, close enough to feel warmth, yet gone when they turn. Suspense grows not from what is seen, but from what is felt, an invisible tension that follows visitors from room to room. What makes this atmosphere truly disturbing is its patience. The spirits here do not rush. They observe. They seem to recognize newcomers, testing boundaries, brushing against awareness in subtle ways. A door creaks open slightly, not enough to alarm, just enough to be noticed. Footsteps echo above, when no one occupies the floor. These moments feel intentional, as though the hotel itself, or what lives within it, is reminding guests that they are never truly alone. The Driskill's energy feels ancient and intelligent, shaped by decades of human presence and something older still. Whether ghosts bound by memory or Jinn drawn by emotional power, the atmosphere remains constant, unbroken, carrying its suspense through generations. Each visitor steps into the same unseen current, adding their breath, their fear, their curiosity to a place that has been waiting far longer than anyone realizes. The ghosts of the Driskill Hotel are not sudden apparitions that leap from the dark. They reveal themselves slowly, like memories rising to the surface of the mind. Many who stay here speak of figures dressed in clothing from another century. Men in tailored suits with heavy watches, women moving gracefully, as if still attending grand gatherings long forgotten. These are believed to be the spirits of past owners, guests, and souls who poured their lives into the hotel when Austin itself was still finding its identity. Their presence carries a strange dignity, but also an undeniable sadness, as if they remain bound to moments they cannot release. Suspense builds in the smallest details. A guest might glimpse a man standing near the grand staircase, only for him to vanish when approached. A woman's reflection appears briefly in a mirror, her eyes seeming aware, before fading into nothing. These moments are fleeting, yet they repeat across generations, creating continuity in the stories told by strangers who have never met. Different decades, same descriptions. Different voices, same fear. It is this repetition that makes the hauntings feel real, as though the spirits are trapped in an endless loop, replaying fragments of their former lives. Some encounters feel more personal, more deliberate. Guests report feeling a gentle tug on their clothing, a soft pressure on the shoulder, or the sensation of someone sitting beside them on the bed. These experiences blur the line between ghosts and something older. In some traditions, Jinn are known to imitate human forms, especially in places where emotional energy is dense. They observe, they test, and sometimes they interact in subtle ways. The Driskill, layered with ambition, loss, celebration, and despair, becomes a perfect stage for such beings to move unseen. Late at night, when the hotel settles into near silence, the continuity of these hauntings becomes strongest. Footsteps echo along the corridors in patterns that never change, as if someone is walking the same path they walked a century ago. Doors open and close softly, not slammed, but guided. Employees whisper about voices calling from empty rooms, speaking in tones too calm to be imagined. These voices are not always in English, adding to the unsettling belief that Jinn may walk alongside ghosts, sharing the same space while belonging to different realms. What unsettles guests most is the feeling of recognition. Some say the spirits seem aware of who you are, responding to your presence differently each time. One person feels comforted, another overwhelmed with fear. This selective interaction suggests intelligence, intention, and memory. Ghosts tied to personal history may be replaying emotion, while Jinn, timeless and watchful, may be choosing when to reveal themselves. The hotel becomes a meeting point, where past owners relive their pride, children replay their laughter, and unseen entities drift quietly between them all. Over time, these encounters stack upon each other, forming a continuous narrative that never truly ends. Every sighting adds another layer to the legend, strengthening the sense that the Driskill is not haunted by one spirit, but by many, human and non-human, bound together by the building itself. The suspense lies not in whether something will appear, but in knowing that something already has, and is still there, waiting for the next soul to notice. Suspense inside the Driskill Hotel does not arrive all at once. It unfolds slowly, like a shadow stretching across the floor as the sun disappears. The building knows how to wait. Guests often describe their first hours as calm, even pleasant, until small, almost insignificant details begin to feel wrong. A light flickers, not violently, but with a strange rhythm, as if responding to an unseen presence. An elevator stops between floors for a breath too long. These moments seem accidental at first, yet they repeat with unsettling consistency, weaving suspense through continuity, making the experience feel deliberate rather than random. As night deepens, the unexplained sounds begin. Footsteps echo overhead when no one is registered on the floor above. The sound is steady, measured, repeating the same path again and again, as though someone is trapped in a routine they cannot break. Guests listening from their beds report the footsteps stopping directly above them, lingering, then slowly fading away. This repetition gives rise to the belief that ghosts here are not wandering aimlessly, but reliving fragments of their past, locked into patterns shaped by memory and regret. Objects, too, seem to move with purpose. Doors open just enough to draw attention, never wide enough to fully reveal what might be on the other side. Curtains shift without any trace of air. Personal belongings are found relocated, placed neatly as if handled with care. This is where the presence feels intelligent, almost observant. Some interpret these actions as the work of ghosts attempting communication. Others sense something older, Jinn, known in many cultures to interact with the physical world subtly, never fully revealing themselves. Preferring suggestion over confrontation, the suspense intensifies through the feeling of being watched. Guests report a pressure in the air, a heaviness that settles on the chest, accompanied by the certainty that they are not alone. Turning around brings nothing but empty space, yet the sensation remains, This awareness lingers throughout the hotel, from the grand lobby to the quiet upper floors. It creates continuity between stories told decades apart. Different guests, same feeling, same silent observer. The building itself seems to amplify this awareness, holding attention like a living presence. Voices are perhaps the most unsettling of all. Soft murmurs drift through hallways, sometimes calling names, sometimes speaking in tones too distant to understand. Employees tell of hearing conversations when no guests are nearby, voices overlapping in a way that feels unnatural. In rare moments, the language does not sound familiar at all, leading some to believe Jinn move alongside human spirits here, slipping between dimensions where sound and silence blur together. These voices do not shout or demand attention. They whisper, drawing listeners closer, feeding the suspense with curiosity and fear. What makes these phenomena truly powerful is their continuity. The same unexplained events occur year after year, unchanged by renovation, technology, or time. The ghosts do not fade, and the spirits do not leave. Each new witness becomes part of the ongoing story, adding another layer to the hotel's living memory. Suspense is no longer just an emotion. It becomes a constant state, a quiet tension woven into every corner of the Driskill, reminding all who enter that the unseen is not only real, but patient, persistent, and always present. Beyond the familiar language of ghosts, there exists another explanation, whispered quietly among those who study ancient beliefs and unseen forces, the presence of Jinn. Unlike ghosts, who are often bound to a single life or a single tragic moment, Jinn are older. Existing long before the walls of the Driskill Hotel ever rose from the Texas soil. They are drawn to places saturated with emotion, ambition, and human intensity, and the Driskill has carried all of that since 1886. Some believe the hotel did not simply become haunted over time. It was noticed, claimed, and slowly inhabited by spirits that move between worlds. Suspense begins with the way these spirits are felt rather than seen. Guests describe sudden shifts in temperature that have no natural explanation, pockets of cold air that feel deliberate, as if someone or something has passed directly through them. Unlike the lingering chill associated with ghosts, this cold feels alert, aware. It comes and goes too quickly, leaving behind a sense of being examined. In many traditions, Jinn are known to observe humans silently, revealing themselves only when curiosity outweighs caution. The Driskill's long history provides endless curiosity. Continuity strengthens this belief. Reports from different eras describe the same sensations using different words: unease, heaviness, pressure, attention. A guest from the 1920s writes of feeling, followed by invisible eyes. A modern visitor describes the same feeling as being scanned. The language changes, but the experience remains identical. This consistency suggests something timeless, something not bound to a single era like a ghost repeating its final hours. Jinn do not age, do not fade, and do not move on unless they choose to. At times, the activity within the hotel seems too intelligent to belong solely to human spirits. Lights flicker in response to movement. Sounds occur only after someone enters a room, as if triggered by awareness. Objects are moved thoughtfully, not thrown or broken. This restraint feeds the suspense, because whatever is present does not act in chaos, it acts with control. Ghosts often relieve emotion, Jinn react to it. Fear, curiosity, arrogance, and confidence all seem to influence how the presence responds. Some guests report dreams unlike ordinary dreams. Visions of unfamiliar faces, places that feel ancient, voices speaking without sound. They wake with the sense that something entered their thoughts, something that did not belong there. In folklore, Jinn are known to influence dreams, slipping through the thin barrier of sleep, where the human mind is most vulnerable. These experiences feel deeply personal, as though the hotel itself, or what dwells within it, has reached beyond physical space to make contact. Ghosts are still present, unmistakably human in their sorrow and repetition. Footsteps retrace familiar paths. Reflections appear and vanish. Emotional echoes replay endlessly. But layered among them is something quieter, more patient. The Jinn do not announce themselves. They move through continuity, watching the ghosts repeat their loops, watching humans come and go, unchanged by the passing of centuries. This coexistence creates an atmosphere unlike ordinary hauntings, a place where human spirits and ancient beings occupy the same space without conflict, each following their own rules. The suspense deepens when one realizes that Jinn are not trapped. They remain by choice. In a place as rich with history, emotion, and attention as the Driskill Hotel offers endless reasons to stay. Every whispered story, every frightened guest, every curious soul adds energy to the space. The ghosts remain bound by memory, but the Jinn remain because they are drawn to the living pulse of fear and fascination. In this way, the hotel becomes more than haunted. It becomes inhabited, a shared domain where the past breathes, ancient spirits listen, and the unseen patiently waits to be acknowledged. The most unsettling truth about the Driskill Hotel is not the sightings, the sounds, or even the spirits themselves. It is the continuity. Time inside the building does not behave the way it should. Guests often describe the sensation that the past is not behind them, but beside them, moving at the same pace. A conversation in the lobby feels layered, as though another conversation is happening within it, just out of reach. Laughter echoes with an unfamiliar tone, and silence never arrives fully, as if it is constantly interrupted by memories refusing to fade. This blending of eras creates a suspense that never resolves. You expect something to happen, yet the tension remains suspended, stretching endlessly. A guest may feel watched from the moment they arrive, but nothing dramatic occurs, no sudden apparition, no violent disturbance. Instead, the awareness follows them gently, persistently, from room to room. This lingering attention makes the experience far more disturbing than a single moment of fear. It suggests intention, patience, and recognition, as though the unseen presences are aware of your existence and are choosing when, and if, to respond. Ghosts here seem to exist in loops of memory. They repeat footsteps, retrace paths, and linger in specific spaces tied to emotional significance. These spirits feel heavy with human sorrow and pride, bound to moments they cannot escape. But woven through this repetition is something that does not repeat at all. Jinn, according to belief, are not prisoners of time. They move freely through it, observing the ghosts as easily as they observe the living. This creates a layered reality where some beings are trapped, while others remain fully aware of every passing moment. Guests often report feeling sudden emotional shifts, confidence that does not belong to them, sadness without cause, curiosity that feels planted rather than natural. These emotional intrusions feel subtle, controlled, and deeply personal. Suspense grows when one realizes these feelings may not be their own. In many traditions, Jinn are known to influence perception and emotion, nudging the human mind gently rather than overpowering it. The Driskill becomes a place where your thoughts no longer feel entirely private. At night, this continuity becomes strongest. Dreams blend with wakefulness. People wake certain that someone spoke to them, only to find the room empty. Some recall standing in hallways they never walked, seeing scenes from another century with unnatural clarity. These experiences feel less like imagination and more like memory being borrowed. Ghosts replay their past, but Jinn may invite the living to witness it, to step briefly into another layer of time. What deepens the spell is the realization that every visitor becomes part of this cycle. Each reaction, fear, fascination, disbelief, feeds the atmosphere. Stories told years apart mirror each other with uncanny accuracy. The same sensations, the same whispers, the same feeling of being gently tested. This unbroken pattern suggests a system, a living rhythm maintained by both human spirits and ancient watchers. The Driskill does not trap people physically, but it lingers in the mind long after departure. Visitors carry its presence with them, dreaming of it, thinking of it, sensing it in quiet moments. The continuity does not end when you leave, it follows, subtle and faint, like a thread still tied to the building. Suspense remains unresolved, questions unanswered, because the hotel does not offer closure. It offers participation in something ongoing, something older than memory, where ghosts repeat, Jinn observe, and time itself seems to wait for the next soul willing to notice. And so the Driskill Hotel stands, not merely as a building of stone and marble, but as a living chronicle of Texas history. Within its grand halls, you can hear the echoes of ambition, whispers of long gone owners, and the footsteps of lives forever intertwined with its legacy. Every shadow carries a story, every flicker of light a memory. The ghosts remind us that history is never truly gone, and the Jinn, ancient and unseen, remind us that some forces move beyond our comprehension, quietly watching, patiently waiting. To walk through the Driskill is to walk alongside centuries, to touch the pulse of a time long past, yet still present. It is a place where the line between history and the supernatural blurs, where suspense lingers like a slow heartbeat, and where the unseen is as real as the ground beneath your feet. Every visitor becomes a witness, every story a continuation, every fear a thread in the tapestry of this remarkable, haunted landmark. Step inside, listen carefully, and remember, in the Driskill Hotel, the past never truly sleeps.